Hi everyone, welcome to Painting with Jess. Today we'll paint an easy acrylic water on the beach painting. Great for beginners, so let's get started. Today I'll be using primary yellow, primary red, primary blue, as well as titanium white and Payne's gray on a 9 by 12 inch canvas. To start, I'm going to place some tape to help me see where I would like to put the sky and, and the water. All set. Now we will start with blue, and we're going to use a brush like this one here. We're going to put some blue on at the top of the sky, just in a circular motion, just like this. And we're just going to do just circular motions. The whole sky basically is going to be done with circular motions with my brush. So you'll see that at some points I'm going to add little bits of white as well. And I'm just basically blending. I'm just, whatever color I put on here, I'm going to be blending with the other colors. Now I'm mixing a little bit of white with the blue. And then we'll be putting a little bit more dark blue on there as well near the top. Now I'm being pretty gentle with when I'm doing the circular motion. I'm trying to be pretty gentle so that it doesn't push too hard on the brush. Now I'm going to change brushes so that I can add a little bit of white. Just to lighten up some areas. I'm going to try to do the whole sky when it's all wet, just to blend it all together while it's all wet, not letting it dry. And we'll see how it goes. We'll see what we end up with. So we're going to get a little darker down here. As you can see, I started at the top of the page, and I'm going to blend down as I get lower on the page. I'll blend different colors. Okay, so now I'm going to mix some blue and red to make a purple color. So we have a bit of a purplish, purple, blue, gray type color going on. You can really use any colors in this and just blend it however you want it to look. I just added a little bit of red to have a bit of a darker color, a darker purple area. And as you can see, I'm just continuously circling, circling the brush to blend it all together. Before I go any further, I'm going to blend a little bit more white into this to lighten up a little bit, probably right here. Now, I'm going to try a different brush to do a bit of orangey yellow, if I can here. A little more yellow near the bottom to make it a little brighter. Okay, so now I'm going to add some really light yellow to the bottom area. I'm not sure if this is the brush that I want to be using for this after all. I think I'll choose a different brush. We want some fairly thick yellow areas because I want the yellow to show up a bit at the bottom, so it looks brighter near the bottom where the sun might be setting or something like that. I think I'm going to try and put a little bit of orange again in the middle area here and see what happens. Kind of experimenting with the different brushes to see what kind of texture I can get in the clouds. Not sure if I like that or not, but we'll see in a minute. Okay, so at this point, I'm going to let it dry for a few minutes and see if I can add some bright yellow near the bottom. Okay, so now we're going to try to blend some more orange into the middle area there. But what I did was I made orange by blending red and yellow, and then I added a bit of white to make it more of a coral color. And we're just blending it the same way that we blended before. I'm going to change to a smaller brush just because it'll make it easier to highlight the color. As you can see, the sky is kind of stormy. It's turning out to be kind of a stormy sky for sure. But we're going to do water and then a beach. Sand on the beach there, the water coming up on the beach at the bottom. So that'll be nice. Okay, so we're almost finished the sky. It's pretty dramatic looking, I know, but you can use whatever color you like that you think looks all right. As your colorful clouds. Okay, so we'll gently take off the tape and then we're going to let it dry again before we do the water. Okay, so now we are going to do the water with the waves. I'm going to put some tape, just put some tape so that I can see where I want the beach to go. Because I want a lot of beach today, so I'll put it like this. Make sure it's down there pretty good, and use the green or blue painter's tape to do this, and it won't cause any problem, hopefully. All right, so we're going to leave a little bit of space in between because my sky is still a little bit wet and I don't want to mix the paints together at this point. So what we'll do is we'll start with the blue and we'll do the furthest away, the darkest blue. So furthest away from the shore will be the darkest blue. So we'll just go pretty much what I want to do, I think, is I want to have the waves come down like this. So they're kind of like on an angle a little bit. So we'll see how that goes. So I'm just going to start with a bit of blue, dark blue. And like I'm leaving space at the top, which I can fill in later with some color. So now I'm going to make a little bit lighter blue by mixing dark blue with white. So we're going to start making, I think, some things that look like waves, hopefully. Areas that look like waves. Now you'll see, because I'm also going to add some of the, basically like a bit of reflection of the clouds in the water as well, fairly soon. Now for this effect, I'm just kind of pushing the white through the blue paint. Okay, so we'll just do a little bit more white in there. Yes, I do use a lot of paint. You don't have to use a lot of paint, but I tend to use a lot of paint, so. All right, so now we are going to do some of the reflection of the sky in the waves. So first of all, we're going to use a little bit of coral and yellow, which is kind of what's near the top there. Now I'm going to do a little bit of the purple color, purple bluish, closer to the shore. Just kind of playing around with paint and see what it looks like when I do different things with it. Especially along the shore, I'd like to have a little bit of kind of wave color, which would be, or sorry, like the foam color, which would be kind of white. You can just kind of play around with the color. I love doing that. Just see what it comes out as. Every once in a while, just take a look at it and see what you think, and kind of see what you can change if you want. I'm trying to get some of the coral color in here in the back area of the waves. So it's kind of yellow and coral at the back. So we'll have to leave it alone in a minute. I'm just gonna, because it seems to me that I've taken a lot of the blue away by adding all the other colors. I'm just gonna add a little bit more blue back in. I know it looks a little chaotic, but sometimes things look a little chaotic before they look okay. So hopefully. This is kind of a stormy sea and sky today. Okay, so I think I'm going to let it dry and then I'll come back and see if I want to change anything in a few minutes. All right, so now I'm going to add a little bit of white just along the edge of my tape here, because that should be where my beach will be fairly soon, with the sand and hopefully some nice frothy white foam on the beach. So gently I'm going to take off the tape, and now we will let it dry before we do some beach scene. All right, so now we're going to do the sand and the water coming onto the sand. So we're just doing a light brown along the edge here, very light brown. Kind of a beige color. Hopefully, if you're trying this, it's turning out the way you want it to. I mean, okay, so next we're going to add a little bit of darker brown in the back area here, just because we want some darker areas in the back, further away from the water. All right, so now we're going to try to add some sea foam to the edge of the sand. And you just need the white for this. What I like to do is I'll take my brush, not a very big brush, just regular medium size, and I'll tap it on the canvas. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to raise it up a little bit so that I can get to where I need to go. Just need to raise it up a little bit from there. You know what? No, I'm not. That's fine. That's okay. All right, so I think we'll start with by the water, and then we'll work our way inward. So we're just going to tap gently along the edge of where the water meets the sand. Sorry if it's making a little bit of noise. Try not to do that. Just kind of quickly tapping it and then gently bringing it in towards the sand and being on the sand. Sorry if you're hearing tapping noise, but can't help it right now, so. Different ways to use the brush so that you can get different results. Every once in a while, just take a look at what you're doing and just see if it looks okay. If it doesn't, you can change it up. Because with acrylic, you can let it dry and change whatever you like. Okay, and I think we're almost finished. Well, I sure hope you enjoyed painting with me today. If you enjoyed this, then like and subscribe, and the next video will be coming soon.